Okay, sodium ion channel inhibitors. I found this when I was trying to figure out what was going on in the secular world that was going to coincide with what I thought was coming. What was going to be equivalent to or greater than the corona debacle concerning the outside world. And I found this little gem underneath the news of Moderna and their cancer vaccine, and how Moderna hit 46 billion on a record-breaking stock market value in one day after their announcement on the cancer vaccine, which had me shaking my head because, of course, they have to bring about a cancer vaccine because too many people woke up during the corona era when they took a very cheap anti-parasitical to treat corona, and some people were having their cancer just eliminated by the use of this very cheap, highly accessible anti-parasitic drug. But who am I? I'm not a doctor. That's for entertainment purposes only. I was trying to figure out what could be so big that would impact the world so much. And I started taking all the data that I've gotten from other very smart people and from a lot of research, paired with a lot of the information that I know from my personal training, massage therapy. I'm a big old science geek, so I just love science and the human body, anything that makes us human, and how this would all fit together. And when I found this topic and I dove in, I was like, bam, it all connects. 5, 6, 7G, connectivity, body area network, human biofield, the politics, the money system, all of it just seemed to fit. So I'm going to share it with you. It's a little bit fragmented, so I'm going to break it up into 2 parts. I was doing talk to text when I had all these tabs open when I'm looking up NIH articles, PubMed, Google Scholars, and all these other things, trying to find credible, reliable sources, and I was trying to put it together simply. So if you don't understand the terminology, I apologize. Hopefully it'll urge you to look things up on your own. I will try to wrap it up in a little tidy bow at the end. This first video, I'm going to explain sodium ion inhibitors, what the projection is, and how sodium ions are used in industrial application. And in the second video, I will reference it pertaining to the human body. But if you take this first video and the information I give you and you replace the word battery with human body, you might not even need the second video. You might not even need it. After the announcement that Singapore has their first biological AI fueled by human neurons, I was like, ding, 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 ding. Okay. Energy sources. They need energy sources. Data centers, water. Open up your mind here, okay? That's all I ask. And hopefully this will catch on and people smarter than me will dive in and explain it even simpler in terms, because I think this is a big one, okay? So, okay, there is no evidence of a new implementation of sodium ion inhibitors in August of 2026. There is no data linking sodium ion battery technology to corrosion inhibitors, but there is a reference of sodium silicate corrosion inhibitor that was updated in August. This chemical is used in semiconductor fabrication and water treatment, not in sodium ion batteries. Okay, the global sodium silicate corrosion inhibitor market entered a phase of sustained expansion in 2026, driven by semiconductor fab expansion and tightening environmental regulations, replacing phosphate-based inhibitors. High purity sodium silicate is used in ultra-pure water loops and cooling systems for advanced manufacturing, particularly in Taiwan, South Korea, the US, and the EU. Sodium inhibitors in medicine primarily refer to sodium channel blockers for heart rhythm, seizure, and pain, and SGLT2 inhibitors for diabetes and kidney disease. As of August 2026, several companies are leading the development and commercialization of these therapies. Medical uses of sodium inhibitors are sodium channel blockers. These drugs stabilize electrical activity in nerve and heart cells by blocking sodium ion flow. Cardiac arrhythmias. It treats irregular heartbeats, atrial fibrillation, ventricular tachycardia, and prevents sudden cardiac death. It also treats epilepsy and seizures. It reduces neuronal excitability to prevent seizures. In pain management, it helps with neuropathic pain, nerve damage, chronic pain, and acute pain. This is a new major frontier. Keep that in mind. They say it's a new major frontier. So how are they helping all of these ailments? By blocking sodium ion channels. We're going to get to it. Okay. Local anesthesia, we are used to. That blocks nerve signals. Doesn't stop the signals from actually coming to be. It just blocks the transmission of the nerve signals. During procedures, SGLT2 inhibitors block glucose reabsorption in the kidneys. That causes excess sugar to be excreted in urine. Not unlike the GLP-1s, if you get my drift. And what are GLP-1s? They're a weight loss drug that were guised under helping diabetes. And where did that technology derive from? Lizard venom. So these things tend to go hand in hand. The companies that are doing this are your typicals: AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson, Merck, and you know all the players, okay? So in order to understand how the sodium works in the human body, I want to address how sodium salt is utilized in a regular old non-human battery, okay? Salt powers a battery by acting as an electrolyte, a solution that facilitates the flow of ions between two metal electrodes to generate electricity. With salt, the sodium chloride is dissolved in water. It dissociates into positive sodium ions and negative chloride ions, creating a conductive medium that pure water cannot provide due to its high electrical resistance. I'm going to repeat that. Creates a conductive medium that pure water cannot provide due to its high electrical resistance. Remember this. This is a conductive mechanism that water cannot provide, and humans are made up of 70% water. Moving on. Okay. In simple saltwater batteries, basic educational batteries, the saltwater solution enables a chemical reaction between two dissimilar metals such as zinc and copper or carbon. Electron flow. The zinc electrode releases electrons which travels through an external circuit to power a device like an LED, while the copper electrode accepts them. Again, this is like male to female. This is like a plug into a receptor. Not so hard to understand. The human body has a bunch of receptors. Again, we went back to Corona. I told a lot of people to keep smoking and even smoke more cigars because human bodies have nicotine receptors in their body. We are meant to receive nicotine. Of course, the nicotine that are in cigarettes now are a far cry from the natural nicotine that God provided in nightshade vegetables. But nevertheless, nicotine is a very wonderful compound to utilize in health. I'm currently doing a study on myself pertaining to a neurological issue that I deal with, and it has been being helped by use of things that doctors have said not to utilize, including salt, including natural nicotine, including high intake of good saturated fats, timed in different arenas, but that's another video for another day. The salt ions move through the solution to balance the electrical charge. Sodium ions migrate toward the cathode and chloride ions toward the anode, preventing the buildup of static charge that would otherwise stop the reaction. Now, you might have heard me say that when I pray, I don't want the static. And when I want my body to function optimally, I'm trying to get rid of the static. When I'm doing the anti-parasitic cleanse, when I'm doing a cleanse, when I'm doing a dry fast or just a water fast, I'm doing that to get rid of the static. So it's not so different here in a regular old battery. You have to have clean lines of communication. Your body needs clean lines of communication as well. So I just want to go ahead and insert that. The limitations of sodium ion batteries. These batteries produce very low voltage and current. It's suitable only for small demonstrations as the energy is delivered primarily from the oxidization of the metal electrodes rather than the salt itself. So it's not the salt that does it, it's the metallic reaction. That's what's actually producing the current. So keep that in mind. Not the salt, but the effects of the salt. What are the advantages of these batteries? The advantages of the salt-based battery technologies utilize salt chemistry for more efficient energy storage. So it's low voltage, but great for storage. It's distinct from simple experiments. Sodium-ion batteries. These rechargeable batteries use sodium ions as charge carriers instead of lithium. Again, salt batteries are rechargeable. Sodium is abundant and cheap, but its larger ionic radius results in slower movement and lower energy density compared to lithium-ion batteries. So in salt batteries, the radius results in slower movement, but the radius is larger. So bigger reach, lower voltage versus a lithium battery, which is not a big reach, but lots of energy. So again, if you translate that to the human body and the human biofield and the electrical impulses in our body and the energy that is produced from that, you might see where I'm going with this. Now there are molten salt batteries. These are high temperature batteries that use sodium chloride as an electrolyte. The salt must be liquid to allow ion mobility between a sodium anode and a metal chloride cathode. These offer high safety and long life, but require significant energy to maintain their operating temperature. The key differences between salt versus lithium is connectivity. Salt water provides ionic connectivity through dissolved ions, where lithium-ion batteries use specialized non-aqueous electrolytes to achieve higher voltages. Pretty much saying what I already told you. Salt water and molten salt systems are generally non-flammable and safer than lithium-ion batteries, which can overheat or catch fire. The performance. Lithium batteries offer higher energy and density and faster charging, making them superior for portable electronics and EVs, while salt-based systems are better suited for stationary, large-scale energy storage. Large-scale energy storage. What does that sound like, guys? Now that we have a little bit of that going on, let's talk about the biological battery mechanism pertaining to the human body. I'm going to touch on it, and then I'm going to close it off, hopefully under 15 minutes, okay? Okay, the human body functions as a controllable biological battery by utilizing sodium ions to generate and transmit electrical signals through a process called bioelectricity. Unlike metal batteries that rely on electron flow, the body uses the movement of ions across cell membranes to create voltage differences. The biological battery mechanism is primarily due to the sodium-potassium pump. This brings me back to my fitness days. Charging phase is called the resting potential. This is where the pump actively uses energy, otherwise known as ATP, to move 3 sodium ions out of the cell and 2 potassium ions into the cell. This creates a concentration gradient where the outside of the cell is positively charged and the inside is negatively charged. This state is known as the resting membrane potential. The discharge phase, or the action potential, is when a neuron is stimulated, the voltage-gated sodium channels open, so the door opens, here's all your sodium ions, here are your potassium ones that are just kind of sitting there. The little gate opens and allows the sodium ions to rush back into the cell, and a sudden influx of positive charge flips the membrane potential to positive, which is called depolarization. This creates an electrical pulse known as action potential. There's a recharging phase. So immediately after the action potential, after that pulse, the pump restores the gradient by getting rid of the sodium ions again, readying the cell for the next signal. The controllability of the bio battery. This is where it gets interesting. The body exerts a precise control over this battery through ion channels which act as microscopic gates. Voltage gating channels open or close in response to changes in membrane voltage, ensuring the electrical signals travel in one direction along the nerve fiber without dissipating. Strong, 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 not strong and trailing off. Signal modulation. The frequency and intensity of these electrical pulses can be modulated. For instance, a stronger stimulus causes a higher frequency of action potentials, allowing the brain to distinguish between a light touch and a heavy pressure. There's something called the all or nothing principle. This is where individual neurons fire completely or none at all, ensuring signal integrity over long distances, similar to a digital bit. Similar to a digital bit. While the rate of firing provides the analog control. Harnessing body electricity. Okay, I'm going to stop there. I think that's a little over 15 minutes, but we left off on harnessing body electricity. I hope I can remember where we are. I'm going to go ahead and do one of these so I know. You might not find this as exciting as I do, but I do. They're introducing sodium ion channel inhibitors to stop the cell gate from opening to allow the sodium ions into the cell to give it excitability. Now they're doing this so the frequencies that are going through the electricity in the body won't cause seizures. So people that have epilepsy, people that have heart arrhythmias, they want to regulate that. That's great and good, but what happens if you have these blockers, these inhibitors that enter the human system for people that don't have overexcitable cells, don't have overstimulated electrical firing? What happens then? You don't have any movement. You don't have any energy. So this is where I found it interesting, especially when it comes to harnessing the body electricity. And that's where I think we get into the AI biology and harnessing human electricity. I don't think this is just, I firmly don't believe that everything that's going on is just to spy on people. I don't think all these cameras and all of these, I don't think all these digital clones that are walking around, I don't think it has to do with spying. I think it has to do with harnessing human energy because it is powerful. And I said in a previous video, I also believe that when you implement love and you implement a higher vibration, like when you pray to Jesus, that is energy that's primed for the picking. They want to harness that energy to power what? We'll get into it, okay? So I hope that wasn't too much today. I know I stumble a lot. My apologies. To be continued. Hopefully I can finish this up tomorrow. Have a great night.